First contact and deception. The Nexarian observation vessel emerged from fold space at the edge of Sol's heliopause, its crystalline hull refracting the distant starlight. Commander Vixterra stood at the command center, her iridescent scales shifting from deep purple to azure as she studied the holographic display of the third planet, Earth. After centuries of searching, they had finally found another civilization on the cusp of interstellar travel. "Analysis complete, Commander," reported Science Officer Zenth, his neural tendrils pulsing with excitement. "Their technological advancement is remarkable for such a young species. Fusion power, quantum computing, and early antimatter containment experiments. They're progressing faster than any species we've encountered." Vixterra's secondary eyes narrowed while her primary set remained fixed on the blue world. The Nexarian Imperium's directive was clear. Assess, infiltrate, and conquer. Any civilization approaching their level of advancement was to be subjugated before it could become a threat. But something about these humans gave her pause. "Their communication networks are fascinating," Zenth continued. "They appear to simulate countless scenarios of first contact through something called science fiction. Many involve hostile invasions, yet they also dream of peaceful cooperation. Their imagination is unprecedented." The commander initiated a secure transmission to the waiting Nexarian fleet, hidden in the dark space between nearby stars. "Initiate Protocol Sunflower. We approach as peaceful explorers seeking diplomatic relations." As the observation vessel crossed the orbit of Mars, Earth's defense networks came alive. Primitive but numerous satellites tracked their approach, while radio chatter between military installations spiked. The humans were cautious but not panicked, exactly as the Nexarians had hoped. Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the United Earth Defense Council, her hands steady despite the weight of the moment. As Earth's leading xenolinguist and first contact specialist, she had trained for this day her entire career. The holographic display behind her showed the approaching alien vessel. "Their message is clear and deliberately simplified," she explained to the assembled leaders. "They call themselves the Nexarians and claim to represent a peaceful coalition of spacefaring species. They're requesting diplomatic talks." General Marcus Hayes, his dark skin creased with decades of worry lines, leaned forward. "And you believe them?" "I believe they're too careful," Chen replied. "Their language is precise, their approach calculated. They're showing us exactly what we want to see, like they've studied us. The question is, why?" In the following weeks, the Nexarians played their part perfectly. They shared limited technological insights, spoke of cultural exchange, and never once triggered the hidden defense systems humanity had been building in secret for decades. Their diplomatic vessel, with its crystalline beauty and advanced technology, became a symbol of hope for many. But in secure facilities deep beneath the Pacific Ocean and inside lunar caves, humanity's real preparation continued. The secret shipyards never stopped their work. The quantum encryption networks kept monitoring for any sign of deception, and in her private office, Dr. Chen worked tirelessly to decode the subtle patterns in Nexarian communication that others missed. "They're testing our responses," she reported to a closed session of the Defense Council. "Every technological gift they offer is carefully chosen to gauge our capabilities. Every cultural exchange is an intelligence-gathering operation. They're not here for peace. They're assessing our weaknesses." General Hayes nodded grimly. "Then we continue playing our part. Let them think their deception is working. Let them believe we're the naive species they take us for." In high orbit, Commander Vixterra received the latest reports from her infiltration teams with growing confidence. The humans appeared to be exactly what they seemed: a young, hopeful species eager to join the galactic community. If they detected any of the subtle scans mapping their military installations or the quantum probes analyzing their technological capabilities, they showed no sign. "The human leadership has accepted our proposal for a permanent diplomatic installation on their moon," her political officer reported. "Everything proceeds according to plan." But in that moment, as her ship passed over the night side of Earth, Vixterra's fine-tuned instincts triggered a warning. The darkness below was too complete in places where city lights should shine. The orbital trajectories of human satellites seemed too random to be truly random. And in all their diplomatic exchanges, the humans never once asked about Nexarian military capabilities or defenses. They were being patient, too patient. The commander kept these thoughts to herself as she transmitted another all clear to the waiting invasion fleet. Let them come, she thought. These humans were either exactly what they appeared to be, or they were far more dangerous than anyone suspected. Either way, the galaxy was about to change forever. The hidden fleet. Deep within the asteroid belt, in a hollowed-out planetoid designated Shadow Base Alpha, Captain Elena Rodriguez stood before the viewport of humanity's greatest secret. The HMS Defiant hung in the vast construction bay, its dark hull absorbing the harsh industrial lighting. Unlike the crystalline elegance of Nexarian ships, the human vessel was all angular planes and sharp edges, built not for beauty but for war. Final systems check complete, Captain, reported Commander James Chen, Dr. Chen's brother, and the ship's chief engineer. He gestured to the holographic readouts floating before them. The metamaterial cloaking system is functioning at optimal levels. As far as the Nexarians are concerned, we're just another unremarkable asteroid. Elena nodded, her expression stern. And the new quantum drive? Ready for its first real test. The simulations show we can match their fold space capability, maybe even exceed it. We've learned more from analyzing their diplomatic vessel's energy signatures than they intended to show us. The captain allowed herself a small smile. For 3 years, they had maintained this charade of being a promising but inexperienced species. Every cultural exchange with the Nexarians had been an opportunity to study their technology. Every diplomatic meeting had revealed more about their tactical doctrine and capabilities. In another part of the base, Dr. Sarah Chen worked with her team to decode the latest batch of Nexarian communications. The aliens thought their quantum-encrypted transmissions were unbreakable, never suspecting that humans had developed similar technology decades ago in absolute secrecy. "They're getting impatient," she informed the emergency session of the Defense Council, her hologram flickering slightly from the asteroid belt's distance. "The invasion fleet is already assembled. I estimate we have less than 2 weeks before they make their move." Throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden strength stirred to life. Beneath the clouds of Venus, plasma weapon arrays powered up in hardened bunkers. Inside Neptune's storms, automated drone carriers prepared their swarms. And in bases throughout the asteroid belt, 11 more warships like the Defiant waited in their bays. Captain Rodriguez addressed her crew as they made final preparations. "For generations, we've prepared for this moment. Our ancestors knew we weren't alone in the galaxy, knew that contact was inevitable. While we built cities and launched satellites, the real work happened in secret. Everything humanity has shown the galaxy has been a carefully crafted illusion." She walked through the Defiant's corridors, noting the determination in her crew's eyes. They had trained their entire lives for this mission, selected from birth for their roles. The Nexarians think they're the hunters, but they've never faced a species that expected them. Every piece of technology they've shown us, every tactical advantage they think they have, we've prepared counters for them all. In her quarters, Elena reviewed the classified files one last time. The true history of human space development, kept hidden from their own people for security. The first FTL experiments in 1989, the quantum computing breakthrough of 1995, the discovery of Nexarian scout probes in 2015 that had prompted this massive deception. Status update from Lunar Observation Post, her AI assistant reported. Nexarian diplomatic vessel is maintaining standard orbit. No sign they've detected our preparations. On the bridge, Commander Chen ran another systems check on the Defiant's primary weapon, a gravitational lance that could tear a ship apart at the quantum level. The technology had been developed based on centuries-old theories, refined through careful observation of Nexarian ships. "All fleet elements report ready, Captain," tactical officer Lisa Wong reported. Shadow bases Beta through Lambda confirmed their ships are at full combat readiness. Mars Defense Command has activated all underground railgun complexes. Jupiter Station reports their antimatter production is at peak capacity. Elena took her command chair, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. Humanity had spent generations preparing for this moment, hiding their true capabilities behind a mask of apparent technological adolescence. The Nexarians thought they were approaching the simple conquest. Instead, they were walking into the most elaborate trap in human military history. "Send word to all commands," she ordered. "Operation Revelation is now active. All ships maintain silent running. We watch, we wait, and when the Nexarians show their true intentions." She paused, looking at the determined faces of her bridge crew. "We show them ours." In high orbit around Earth, Commander Vixterra remained unaware that her every movement was being monitored, every transmission intercepted and decoded. The invasion fleet would arrive soon, and she expected a swift victory over these seemingly naive humans. But in the darkness of the asteroid belt, humanity's hidden fleet waited, ready to reveal that appearances can be deceiving. Betrayal and battle. The Nexarian invasion fleet emerged from fold space like a crystalline tsunami, 200 warships materializing in perfect formation just beyond Mars' orbit. Commander Vixterra watched with satisfaction as Earth's primitive detection systems registered the arrival exactly as predicted. Now they would see the futility of resistance. "Send the ultimatum," she ordered, her scales shifting to battle red. "Let them know the price of surrender and the cost of defiance." But as the transmission reached Earth, something unexpected happened. Instead of panic or desperate pleas, there was only silence. The human communication networks, which should have erupted with chaos, went dark. The satellites that had been tracking her diplomatic vessel winked out one by one. In the command center of Shadow Base Alpha, Captain Rodriguez watched the Nexarian fleet's arrival on quantum-linked displays that the aliens couldn't detect. "They're right on schedule," she noted. "All ships prepare to execute Operation Revelation. Phase 1 begins on my mark." Throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden defenses stirred to life. On Mars, massive doors concealed in the red soil slid open, revealing batteries of electromagnetic railguns the size of skyscrapers. Within Neptune's storms, swarms of stealth drones activated their engines. And in the asteroid belt, 12 human warships disengaged their metamaterial cloaking systems. "What is this?" Vixterra demanded as new contacts suddenly appeared on her sensors. The human vessels were unlike anything in their intelligence reports. Angular, aggressive, and bristling with weapons that hadn't existed in any of their technological assessments. Before she could react, the first shot of the war was fired. A gravitational lance from the HMS Defiant struck a Nexarian cruiser, the beam invisible to the naked eye, but devastating in its effect. The crystalline hull of the alien vessel shattered at the quantum level, the ship breaking apart like glass in a hurricane. "All ships, battle formations," Vixterra commanded, but her fleet was already in chaos. The humans weren't fighting like an inexperienced species. Their tactics were precise, their technology advanced, and their attacks devastatingly effective. Captain Rodriguez's voice echoed across all frequencies, transmitted in perfect Nexarian. "You thought we were prey. You didn't realize we've been hunting you." The battle erupted across the solar system. From Venus, plasma arrays reached out with artificial lightning to strike Nexarian vessels. The drone swarms from Neptune emerged from their hiding places, overwhelming alien point defenses with sheer numbers. And from the asteroid belt, humanity's warships struck with technologies that matched or exceeded their opponents. Multiple breaches in the formation. Vixterra's tactical officer reported, his neural tendrils writhing in distress. "Their weapons, they're specifically designed to counter our defensive systems." The commander watched in horror as another cruiser died, its crystalline structure resonating with the frequency of human weapons until it shattered. Years of studying human technology, carefully planning their conquest, and all along they had been the ones being studied. On the Defiance Bridge, Captain Rodriguez coordinated the human counterattack. Status of Phase 1. Nexarian fleet cohesion is breaking down, Tactical Officer Wong reported. Their command and control systems are compromised by our quantum interference. Mars Defense Command reports all railgun batteries are achieving maximum effectiveness. The battle turned into a slaughter. Humanity's hidden fleet moved with practiced precision, executing maneuvers they had drilled for decades. Every human weapon had been designed specifically to exploit weaknesses in Nexarian technology that the aliens didn't even know they had. Commander Chen's voice came over the tactical net. Captain, their flagship is attempting to organize a retreat. Should we pursue? Rodriguez studied the tactical display, watching as the once mighty invasion fleet dissolved into chaos. Negative. Let them run. Phase 2 requires survivors to carry the message. In her command center, Vix Terra made the hardest decision of her career. All ships, emergency fold space jump. Retreat to Rally Point Omega. As her surviving ships fled, she finally understood. The humans hadn't been revealing their technological progress. They had been hiding it. Every interaction, every diplomatic exchange, had been part of an elaborate deception. As the remnants of the Nexarian fleet vanished into fold space, Captain Rodriguez allowed herself a grim smile. Send word to Earth Defense Command. Phase 1 is complete. Begin Phase 2 deployment. The real war was about to begin, and humanity was ready to take the fight to enemy space. In the aftermath of the battle, debris from shattered Nexarian ships drifted through the solar system like crystalline snow. But beneath the surface of Mars, in the storms of Neptune, and in bases throughout the asteroid belt, humanity's war machine was just warming up. The galaxy was about to learn that humans weren't just capable of matching advanced alien technology. They had surpassed it long ago. Turning point. The Nexarian High Command received Commander Vix Terra's defeat with stunned silence. The holographic display showed the devastating losses. Over half their invasion fleet destroyed or crippled by weapons that shouldn't have existed. Humans, the supposedly primitive species, had not only repelled their attack, but had demonstrated technological superiority in nearly every engagement. High Admiral Kexnor, his scales a troubled gray, finally spoke. How did we miss this? How did they hide such advancement from our observations? Before anyone could respond, the quantum sensors screamed warnings. Multiple fold space ruptures were detected at the edge of Nexarian space. The humans weren't waiting for a second invasion. They were bringing the war to the Imperium. Captain Rodriguez stood on the Defiance Bridge as her fleet emerged from fold space. Unlike the Nexarian vessels, the human ships didn't arrive in rigid formation. They appeared in seemingly random patterns, each ship executing its own unique quantum calculations. It made their jumps more efficient and nearly impossible to intercept. All ships report successful transition, Commander Chen announced. The new quantum drive modifications are performing beyond expectations. We're actually moving through fold space faster than Nexarian designs. Deploy the Void Network, Rodriguez ordered. Throughout the fleet, specially designed quantum communication buoys activated, creating an untraceable command network that spanned light years. Another technology the humans had developed in secret, waiting for this moment. Dr. Sarah Chen's voice came through the quantum link from her new position at Fleet Intelligence Command. We're detecting significant Nexarian fleet movements. They're consolidating their forces around core worlds, just as predicted. They still think we'll fight like they do. The human offensive began not with a direct assault, but with something the Nexarians had never encountered: strategic asymmetric warfare on a galactic scale. Stealth drones, deployed years ago disguised as cometary debris, activated throughout Nexarian space. Quantum surveillance networks, hidden in the background radiation of space itself, provided real-time intelligence across thousands of light years. Multiple targets identified, Tactical Officer Wong reported. Initiating Operation Shadow Strike. The first wave of attacks hit Nexarian supply lines, manufacturing centers, and communication hubs simultaneously. Human ships appeared from fold space, struck with devastating precision, and vanished again before the defenders could respond. Each target had been carefully chosen based on years of secret observation and analysis. High Admiral Kexnor watched helplessly as reports flooded in from across the Imperium. The humans weren't fighting for territory or trying to match Nexarian fleet strength. They were systematically dismantling the Empire's ability to wage war. Their tactics make no sense, his strategic advisor protested. They're attacking targets with no military value. But Kexnor was beginning to understand. No, they're attacking exactly what matters. Every strike reduces our industrial capacity, disrupts our supply chains, or severs our communication networks. They're not trying to defeat our fleets. They're making it impossible for us to maintain them. On the Defiant, Captain Rodriguez reviewed the success of their initial strikes. The Nexarians were responding exactly as their psychological profiles had predicted, concentrating their forces to protect obvious military targets while leaving their infrastructure vulnerable. Phase 3 is ready, Commander Chen reported. The quantum virus has been seeded through their networks. On your command, we can begin the systematic shutdown of their automated defense systems. Rodriguez nodded. This was the true power of humanity's approach to warfare. While the Nexarians had focused on building bigger ships and more powerful weapons, humans had developed ways to make those advantages meaningless. The Nexarian leadership is requesting emergency communications. Dr. Chen's voice came through the quantum link. They're beginning to realize the full scope of what they're facing. Let them wait, Rodriguez replied. First, we show them what happens when they threaten Earth. Execute Phase 3. Across Nexarian space, their mighty warships suddenly lost power as quantum viruses shut down their advanced systems. Automated defense networks turned against their masters. Communication relays fell silent. In the space of a few hours, the most powerful empire in known space found itself divided, blind, and quickly approaching helpless. The High Command watched in horror as their mighty fleets drifted powerless in space, their crystalline ships now nothing more than beautiful, useless sculptures. The humans had turned their own technological sophistication against them. Send the surrender signal, High Admiral Kexnor ordered, his scales faded to pale white, before they show us what else they've been hiding. But in her command chair, Captain Rodriguez was already preparing for the next phase. The Nexarians thought this was the end. They didn't realize it was just the beginning of humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage. The message was clear. Earth wasn't just another world to be conquered. It was a sleeping giant that had finally decided to wake up. Victory and recognition. The great hall of the Nexarian High Command, with its towering crystalline spires and ethereal light, had never hosted beings like these before. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood with perfect military bearing, her dark uniform a stark contrast to the iridescent chamber. Behind her, the holographic image of Earth hung like a blue jewel, no longer a target but a symbol of power that had shaken the galaxy. High Admiral Kexnor, his scales now a humble shade of gray, faced the human delegation. You could have destroyed us completely, he stated, not a question but a recognition. Why didn't you? Because destruction was never our goal, Dr. Sarah Chen replied, standing beside Rodriguez. Humanity has had centuries to consider our first contact with advanced alien civilizations. We prepared for the worst while hoping for the best. The revelation that followed stunned the assembled Nexarian leadership into silence. Humans had detected their first scout probe over 400 years ago. Instead of announcing the discovery, Earth's leaders had made a decision that would shape their civilization's development. Every technological advance had been carefully hidden, every achievement disguised behind a facade of normal development. We knew someone would come eventually, Rodriguez explained. The question wasn't if, but when and who. So we built two civilizations, the one we showed to the galaxy, and the one we kept hidden. Every technology you thought you were monitoring us developing, we'd mastered generations ago. The holographic display shifted, showing the true extent of human space development. Hidden bases in other star systems, quantum communication networks spanning hundreds of light years, and technological achievements that the Nexarians had believed impossible. But why maintain such an elaborate deception? Asked one of the Nexarian scientists, his neural tendrils twitching with curiosity. Why not simply demonstrate your power from the beginning? Dr. Chen smiled. Because we wanted to understand who we were dealing with. Your response to finding what you thought was a younger species told us everything we needed to know about the Imperium's true nature. And now that nature will change. The terms of peace were both generous and absolute. The Nexarian Imperium would survive, but transformed. No longer would they be conquerors seeking to subjugate lesser species. Instead, they would join Earth in establishing a new galactic order based on cooperation and mutual respect. We've already identified 17 other developing civilizations within Nexarian space, Rodriguez revealed. From now on, they'll be protected and allowed to develop naturally. The cycle of conquest ends today. But it was the final revelation that truly demonstrated humanity's foresight. As the peace treaty was being signed, Dr. Chen activated a special quantum frequency. Across Nexarian space, thousands of hidden human installations became visible, each one positioned near a potentially habitable world. We've been preparing to protect younger species for centuries, she explained to the astonished Nexarians. Every world that might one day develop intelligence has been watched, guarded, and kept safe from interference. You never found them because you weren't looking for civilizations that didn't exist yet. But it was the final revelation that truly demonstrated humanity's foresight. As the peace treaty was being signed, Dr. Chen activated a special quantum frequency. Across Nexarian space, thousands of hidden human installations became visible, each one positioned near a potentially habitable world. We've been preparing to protect younger species for centuries, she explained to the astonished Nexarians. Every world that might one day develop intelligence has been watched, guarded, and kept safe from interference. You never found them because you weren't looking for civilizations that didn't exist yet. In orbit above the Nexarian homeworld, the HMS Defiant maintained its vigilant watch. But now it was joined by ships from Earth's previously hidden fleets, each one a testament to human ingenuity and determination. The vessels represented not just military power, but humanity's commitment to shepherding a new age of galactic civilization. Captain Rodriguez stood at the center of the Great Hall, her voice carrying the weight of centuries of human preparation. Today marks a new beginning. Earth is stepping out of the shadows not as conquerors, but as guardians. The galaxy will know that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to learn from history and our determination to build a better future. As the peace treaty was formally signed, the quantum networks carried the news across the galaxy. Humanity had revealed itself not just as a powerful species, but as one with the wisdom to use that power responsibly. The message was clear to all who received it. The galaxy was entering a new era, one where the strong would protect the weak, and where the dreams of countless species would have the chance to flourish under humanity's watchful eye. In the end, it wasn't just a victory of weapons or tactics. It was a triumph of human foresight, patience, and determination. The long deception was over, and now the real work could begin. Building a galaxy where intelligence and creativity would be celebrated, not conquered. As Captain Rodriguez prepared to return to the Defiant, she shared a knowing look with Dr. Chen. Their ancestors' greatest gamble had paid off. Humanity had hidden its light not out of fear, but out of wisdom, waiting for the right moment to illuminate the darkness of space with hope instead of war.